Today, I'm here to tell you that not only is it okay to judge a book by its cover, sometimes that is exactly how you should judge a book. A book cover is the first part of a book that you see, right? That is so obvious, but publishers know this, they use it to their advantage, and they design book covers to make a quick impression, which means they want to make sure that that particular book's biggest selling point is the first thing you notice on a book cover. So for example, if an author's name is the biggest draw, if it is a famous author, that author's name is going to be the biggest text that you see on the book cover. If a book has won a big award or is a book club pick from some celebrity, then you get those infamous little unmovable circles on the book cover, which are impossible to miss. If a book's genre is the key selling point of that book, let's say it's a contemporary romance or an epic fantasy, the design of that cover will make it immediately obvious that that is that book's genre. If there's a movie adaptation, sure enough, there almost always is a new book cover to match that film. A publisher wants their books to stand out, but most importantly, they want their books to stand out to the right reader who is scanning shelves at the bookstore or online for books that they want to read, books that match their tastes and what they're looking for. But what if the biggest selling point of a book is the publisher? Some publishers are so distinctive that they develop almost like a cult following. Their readers buy a book because they trust that publisher's taste. To signal this, some publishers give all of their books the exact same cover design. Fitzcarraldo, minimalist, blue and white design. Blue with white text for fiction, white with blue text for essays, and now they have poetry, which is white with a blue border, I think. So minimalist, pure, all exactly the same except the title and the author. They know that people trust their curation of their catalog so much that people are looking for these covers when they are looking for a book. They're looking for the blue and white covers first, and they know that that's a Fitzcarraldo book. And other stories. These are bold, simple, text-based covers. They publish high-quality literature, and they are so confident in the work that they publish that what they want front and center is the first sentence of the book. And so they have started putting that first sentence on their cover. And they're all like this. They're all exactly the same now. Another example that I don't actually own any of is Persephone. Persephone publishes beautiful books with all the same exact gray cover. It's the end papers on the inside that are different for each and every book. And when you see those iconic Persephone covers, you know that you are very likely going to find that the book is by a possibly long-lost mid-century female writer, because that's the majority of what they publish is female writers that have been kind of lost to time, that were writing in the 20th century. And they have a lot of fans who love exactly those kinds of books. And so they put them all in the same cover. Other publishers use a very consistent format rather than identical covers. So an example would be Archipelago, who their books are mostly, some of them are a slightly different size, but they're mostly exactly the same size. They have exactly the same very simple cover design with the same texture, very different texture than most books that you buy. So they stand out in that way. They're a lot shorter than a lot of books that you buy. So these really stand out. I can spot an Archipelago book on a bookstore bookshelf from a mile away. They stand out because they're so short. And people, they see them and they say, oh, Archipelago. They know that they're going to get world-class translated literature if they pick up that book. Similarly, you have Charco Press, which has bright, beautiful, very graphic covers, all very, very bright, the same exact format, same exact size for all of their books. And you know, if you see a Charco Press book on the shelves, that you are getting a book translated from an author in Latin and South America, translated it into English, and high quality literature. And that's what you know if you see these covers on the shelf. We have everybody's favorite collectible, NYRB Books. Their Classics series has the exact same cover design, mix of fiction and nonfiction, but all in their signature format of that box in the middle with a usually fairly dark, moody colors to their books, all in the same format with an interesting image on the front. And you know that you're getting a lot of times, you know that you're getting a work of classic literature, high quality classic literature. A lot of times, again, it's from forgotten authors, or maybe it's a new translation of a famous author, but you're getting high quality literary fiction and nonfiction. And then we have another publisher that I unfortunately don't have any examples of personally, another publisher from the UK, Tilted Axis. Tilted Axis always has somewhere on their cover that tilted axis, so you can spot it again a mile away. And they, as they say, they are publishing literature by the global majority, translated or written in diverse Englishes. And again, they always have that tilted axis on their cover, so you can tell immediately where it's from. So these publishers all have covers that are instantly recognizable to their dedicated readers. But what if you've never read from that publisher before? And if a publisher uses a consistent design, what does that tell you, a newbie to their catalog? One, it tells you that their books are carefully curated and they have a strong mission or a unifying vision as a publisher. You know that they aren't chasing a mass audience, they are appealing to a dedicated niche, and you know that their readers trust them. Otherwise, there would be no point to making their books all look exactly the same. That is why they put who they are as a publisher front and center, because it's their biggest selling point. They kind of create a club almost. They have a recognizable brand that signals, if you like one of our books, you will probably like another of our books, or many of our books, or possibly all of our books. Every catalog hopefully has enough variety that you maybe won't like all of their books, but you'll at least appreciate them. Big publishers, on the other hand, kind of do the opposite. They want to disappear. They use different imprints and they prioritize the author's name or other selling points over their own identity, because they want to disappear. They don't want you to necessarily, there's no reason, because there's no like unifying vision or mission, because their catalogs are so massively huge. There's no reason for you to be like, oh, unless it's like a series like Penguin Classics, which of course that's the biggest selling point, that it's a Penguin Classic. And so they make those covers all identical, but otherwise there's no point for them to make it super obvious who the publisher is. Meanwhile, smaller publishers really lean into their brand. They want you to know who they are. It's often a sign of quality, because these books are so good, so consistent, they want you to be able to spot them immediately. Quality meaning consistency for their particular reader, for their particular audience. They don't need to reinvent the wheel with every cover. They have faith that if you read one of their books and liked it, that you will very likely pick up another of their books. And so they want to make it easy for their readers to identify their next read from that publisher. But not all indie publishers go this route of the identical cover design. Some publishers, I would say like, for example, Catapult maybe, or Grove, are really, I feel like they're competing a lot of times directly with bigger publishers with more like mainstream books that would appeal to a wider audience perhaps. And so they have really colorful contemporary cover design that stand out for the book, but very much feel like maybe mainstream literary fiction. So maybe you can't tell exactly who the publisher is. You first see that colorful contemporary design. Other publishers like Fitzcarraldo build their identity from the very start. And their blue and white covers, for example, if you're speaking of Fitzcarraldo specifically, I feel like their blue and white covers create like a collectible effect too. And so book lovers, like Fitzcarraldo lovers, want to own more, if not all, of Fitzcarraldo because they look so good together. And I feel like Fitzcarraldo was really smart because I think they started with those covers from the get-go, and knowing that that would kind of create that effect for readers of being able to identify what a Fitzcarraldo book was on the shelf, and then also wanting to collect many of them. And then you have other publishers like And Other Stories who adopted the identical cover design later on, I think trying to tap into that same effect of readers wanting their readers to be able to pick out a book from And Other Stories from a mile away, and also want to like kind of collect them too. So there is this psychological factor that these books become so highly collectible, and the more you have, the more you want. And let's be honest, if there's one thing we book lovers all have in common, I think that it's we're all collectors at heart. I would venture to say most, if not all, book lovers are also collectors deep down. Genius move on the part of these publishers to make us want to collect them all. As I was putting this together, I did also notice that a lot of these publishers that at least I know about a lot of them are either completely in the UK or they started in the UK. Like Charco Press is now available in the US and in the UK, but they started in the UK. Fitzcarraldo is in the UK, Persephone is, Tilted Axis is, And Other Stories I think started in the UK, now they're at both. So a lot of them, I don't know, a lot of them are in the UK. Does that say something about American readers and like our preference for really flashy covers? I think it might say something about us. That's a topic for another video. So why does this matter? What is my point? Get to the point, lady. When I get comments from people who are newer to small presses, sometimes they will mention that they're a little bit wary of dipping their toes into the world of small presses because they think that small press with a small team and a small budget means lower quality. Not true. You just have to find the right publisher for you. And I think a publisher has to be so completely confident in its product to put its heart on its sleeve like these publishers do with having the exact same cover design for all of their books. People love them because they are so consistent and true to their vision, and that's what their covers signify. My point is, if you are new to indie publishers, maybe start with one of these publishers that have covers like this that are all very similar, because one, I think it is a sign that that publisher is very confident in the quality of its catalog, but two, very practically, they are easier to spot. They're just easier to spot. So it's a great place to start if you are new. For those of you who are not new to indie and nonprofit publishers, I want to know, who did I miss? What other publishers are out there that have like the same exact cover for all of their books? I'm sure I missed a ton. So I want to know in the comments below. Please share, because of course I want to collect them all. And if you love this kind of thing, I encourage you to sign up for my newsletter. Every month I send 1 to 2 emails with a big long list of books that have been published the previous month from nonprofit and indie presses. And it's great. It's a great resource, especially if you are new. You can scan that list, see anything that jumps out to you, and start exploring from there. So I'll leave a link for my newsletter below. My name is Sarah. Thank you so much for joining me today. What publishers do you collect? Do they have similar covers? I want to know. Let me know in the comments. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.